Hello. Now, this rant won't appeal to everyone. I think I've done another vlog about this before, but as you may or may not know, I'm into Formula 1 and my favourite team is McLaren, who haven't won for a little while now. From being dominant in the 1990s with Ayrton Senna and Alain Prost and then Mika Hakkinen, the team haven't had a Formula 1 championship since 2008 with Lewis Hamilton. And later on, there's Mika Hakkinen won a couple of championships as well. Now, whether I'm a long-time supporter of this team and always will be, but the last few seasons have really been worrying me as the team goes gradually further back on the grid, and we get promises that they're doing deals and getting forward, and nothing's actually really happening. Now, the team before the last few seasons always been there or thereabouts, knocking on the door and having the odd win. The last few seasons been completely barren, and why is this then? Now, the team said a few years ago that the only way they could start winning races, this was the idea back then, is if they break deals with Mercedes, because they were supplying the engine. Now, Mercedes are the top team, so I don't know what the logic was there, but they can break that deal with Mercedes and get forward their own independent deal with an outside engine manufacturer. And this point, it was Honda, who they had so much success in the 90s. So it promised much, and we thought, yeah, this is gonna happen. So the deal happened in 2013, and the first engine went in the car in 2015. It was with much anticipation then. I thought, oh wow, now McLaren are finally going to start winning. They got the McLaren and the Honda engine package there together. It's a winning formula. Let's bring back the winning times of Ayrton Senna and Alain Prost. Did this happen? No. First season, 2015, the team had abysmal results and ended up coming 9th, one of their worst performances of all time, really. No wins, no podium positions. They had top drivers as well. They had double world champion Fernando Alonso racing for them, and also Jenson Button, who won the championship with Brawn a little way before then. Well, after Alonso's things. So yeah, and although it wasn't nice to watch, it was pretty painful. They dubbed it as a building year. Honda are back in Formula 1. They're just learning about engine manufacture, and it's all about the next season. So 2016 come along and the car wasn't about the same sort of level. They made no improvement at all. No wins. They come 6th in the championship, I believe. No wins, no podiums, and it didn't even look like remotely that the car was ever going to win. The thing was going backwards. I mean, I think the positions were slightly better, but not as a huge leap forward you expect with such a big team like McLaren and Honda combined. So it was another building year, was it? Yeah. So now 2017 is sort of like starting the season. So yeah, this is it now. We're going to be competitive. We've had 2 seasons of learning what's best, developing going forward. So yeah, things must get good from now on. Well, in testing, McLaren have not been very fast, one of the slowest cars. I don't really like the orange livery, but that's we'll go back to that. That's their standard colours anyway, which we haven't really seen because of like sponsorship deals. But essentially, the engine was unreliable as well. It kept blowing up, and right close to the season, didn't look like any time of improving. So it's all set for another bad one, isn't it? Something must be done. McLaren are huge. Come on, let's start winning. Will Honda ever create a competitive engine that battles it out with Mercedes up front? Will that ever happen? I don't know if I can keep waiting. 3 years, 4 years, 5 years, and each year McLaren goes further and further behind and not going to get to a point where they're not really regarded as a top team anymore. They was always constantly top 3. McLaren were a team to be feared, and it's absolutely horrible now seeing what's happening. Now this video, this rant here, has been recorded before the Australian qualifying has taken place. It's going live, I think, maybe just as qualifying is happening or just before. So I'm gonna be left with egg on my face if McLaren go to that qualifying session and they're much quicker than everyone else. If they are, then great. I'd love to be embarrassed here live. So comment below saying McLaren are the best on the grid and they've really tricked you and everyone. That'd be the greatest thing that happened ever of all time. Has it happened? Fernando Alonso is one of the best drivers out there, but because he hasn't won a race since 2013, people that have only just started watching Formula One in the last 4 or 5 years, or 3 years even, they don't rate him anymore. He's a back of the grid sort of driver. Put him in a competitive car and suddenly he's dangerous. He can start winning races from anywhere. One story I've recently read, I don't know if this is rumour or actually true, but I hope it is. Apparently McLaren have made an exploratory move towards Mercedes to see potentially, if the Honda deal doesn't work out, which it's not working out, can they have a Mercedes engine put in that car? Now, with a Mercedes engine in the car, that McLaren would be absolutely awesome and could start winning races. Eric Buller, who's the race director of McLaren, said there's no plans to do that. They're going to see out their contract with Honda, but he would say that, wouldn't he? So the only way I think McLaren can start winning quickly is to get a Mercedes engine in the car. Before they move to Honda, they had been with Mercedes for about 15 years. So come on, go back. As much as I would love that to happen, there is a problem with just suddenly ditching the Honda contract and getting a Mercedes engine in. And I've written it down because it's a little bit complicated here. But if they can overcome this, please McLaren start winning. Now, the Honda deal with McLaren is worth £100 million to the team compared to if they had to get a customer engine deal. So, i.e. go to Mercedes and buy the engines separately. Also, Honda pay half the drivers' salaries, and also they do a significant sponsorship for the team as well. Now you've got to see what's most important: to start winning again, or stay financially okay with a car that's never going to win ever. Alonso is not going to stay to 2018. Well, I predict he isn't, if he is not in a competitive car. He's been a bit unlucky, Alonso. He's double world champion early on in his career. He moved to Ferrari when they weren't that competitive. Although, in terms of winning the championship, he came second a few times, didn't quite make it. Then he went to McLaren, who are in actually a huge hole. Come on, McLaren. You need to, although it's painful, you need to ditch the deal with Honda, I think. Go over to Mercedes and try and rescue the team. Because each year you're down the back of the grid, you go further and further into obscurity. Times that by 10 years. Is the team going to be there anymore? So please, 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 McLaren, start winning.